Hey, it's Tara with Reiki on the Run, and today I want to talk to you guys about the act of letting go. Now, this is something I've been thinking about making a video on for the last at least a couple weeks. And then I just recently had an experience where I have to practice what I'm preaching, so that's usually how it works. And so I definitely want to come make this video in case it might be helpful for any of you guys. And I know I say the act of letting go, and that's because it is an action. It is an intentional thing you have to do and put a little effort into. I know when I used to hear people say that, oh, you just need to let it go. It made it sound like it was just something that you would just send off into the sky and it would just float away like a cloud and it would poof, be gone. And that's, can't be farther from the truth. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I do when I do need to let something go. I used to be ate up with everything, really. Everything worried me, everything concerned me. I took everything personal. I would deal with something and I would just lay in my bed in the fetal position about it. I would be upset, sad, depressed, anxious. And I let everything get to me. And if you are going to live any kind of fabulous life, which is what you want to do, you can't let these things get to you, and you can't hang on to everything and continue to suffer. I know pain is inevitable. We're all going to go through things, but the suffering is when we just keep reliving it and keep going through it. And which is usually when someone says, man, you need to just let that go. So I'll talk about why, first of all, we need to let things go. And, like I was just talking about, the things that we need to let go are usually things that are really giving us a hard time and making us depressed. They're keeping us in a low energetic vibe. And whether you understand that your experiences are created by the vibration that you're putting out, or if you just want to feel better, if you don't like being in a low vibe, if you don't like being low energy and sad, that's good enough reason to want to let things go. But keeping yourself in sad situations, and that's just even through thought, even if you're just thinking about something, you're gonna stay in it. And that's the whole point. Letting it go, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a job loss, whether it's you perceive someone thinks something negatively of you, whatever it is, it could be a million different things. If it's eating you up, you gotta let it go. And the first thing I think is that you actually have to feel it. A lot of times we stuff things. We try not to let things bother us. We'll think of things. We'll think about the thing that's bothering us only to a certain point, and then we don't want to get too emotional, or we don't like the feeling, and so we'll stuff it. And stress is I think the number one cause of disease, or it's right there in the top 2 or 3. And so understanding that this is stress, that's an emotional thing, that's going to cause you all kinds of disease, all kinds of issues. You don't want to stuff the feeling, and so you have to feel it. You have to allow that energy to express. You have to allow that feeling to come up, bubble up, and let it out. What you don't want to do is sit in it and marinate in it and wallow in it and feel horrible for days. If you need to cry about something, cry about it until you stop crying, and then move on to these other steps. But definitely you want to feel it. You want to feel it. You want to let it well up, and you want to let it express, let it out, let it go up. It almost feels like, if you ever have a sad feeling or you get anxious or something, it almost feels like it comes up from here. And then kind of when it gets right here, you get too overwhelmed with it, and you're like, nope, I'm not going to think about that, not going to feel that. And you don't want to do that. So let it come out, feel it. Don't try to completely avoid it and act like it doesn't exist, but you cannot wallow in it. And once you've done that, then you can move on to the other stuff. And one of my favorite things is to distract myself. Now, you don't have to think about the situation and think happy thoughts about it. That's not always possible. But you can distract yourself with other things. You can think about things you want. You can think about things that are good in your life. You can think about a million other things other than this thing. And so you have to catch yourself. Most of the thoughts you think every day are repeats. I don't remember what the percentage was, but it's like 95% of what you think in one day is what you thought yesterday. And so we have this habit of just thinking the same thoughts, and we're not even conscious of it. It's just something that everyone does. And so you have to go in there and you have to consciously choose to think other things. So when you find yourself thinking about that thing, don't get mad at yourself, don't be annoyed with yourself, just switch. And sometimes, man, when you're in the thick of it, sometimes you have to do it every other minute. It's like it just comes back up. Okay, I'm letting it go. I'm going to think about something else. And then whoosh, it just comes back into your brain, and that's all you're thinking about. But you just got to stay vigilant. You just got to keep going, keep thinking of other things, distract yourself. If you can do something artsy, if you're that type, if you can get into a work project, if you can play with your kids, you do anything, but distract yourself from those repeated thoughts. And the next one, realize it's probably good for you. I think a lot of times we want to hold on to things, and a lot of times the universe will kind of just shake you loose of stuff that you've been holding on to. There's probably a good idea or a good chance that you knew this wasn't good for you, and you just didn't want to let it go, because sometimes we don't like change. Sometimes, familiar is better than change or letting something go. And a lot of times we'll get signs, we'll get intuition that maybe this wasn't the best choice, but we ignore it. And when we ignore things long enough, like I said, the universe will shake it loose of you, and then you will lose the thing, or it will change for your better. Now, if you look back, I know when I look back on my life and I see things that were really horrible that I thought in the moment were the worst things ever and nothing good could come of it. And when I look back, I see, I'm so glad that happened, because I ended up here, because I did this, because, so really taking the time to think, okay, there's probably something better on the other side of this. It's probably for my best interest, and realizing that and trying to focus on that. Like I said, you usually know, unless it's something that just came up all of a sudden that you need to let go of. You usually have had an inkling, and you just have decided to ignore it because you want what you want, right? And sometimes the better thing for us is somewhere else, and we just need to go through this. So give yourself the benefit of the doubt and try to comfort yourself in thinking that it's probably going to be for the better. When this door closes, this window opens. It really does work that way. And as long as you're trying to hold on to this door, you're not even going to see the windows and doors opening over here. So really try to look toward the better thing that might be out there for you, that is out there for you. Another thing is to be present. A lot of times when you need to let go of something, you want to focus on what could have been, what should have been, what you want it to be, what you worry about the future of how it's going to be without this thing or with this outcome. And that gets you in a lot of trouble. When we focus on the past and dwell on that causes depression. And when you are worried about the future and constantly thinking about the what ifs, that's anxiety, because we usually take the worst possible outcome and focus on that and think that's going to happen. And so neither of those are going to do you any good. So it's really important to be present. What's in front of you right now? Everything is okay right now. You're not dying right now. You're okay right now. And just be present. What's in front of you? Constantly living in the past or worrying about the future, is it really going to mess you up and keep you, even if you're not thinking about, say you have a breakup, and even if you're not thinking specifically about that person, if you're worried, oh, I'm never going to meet anyone and I'm going to be alone forever and miserable, you can't think like that. Okay, you're here right now. You have plenty of things to be happy for. We can all find something to be happy for. We don't have to focus on what doesn't exist. If you're worrying that you're going to die alone, That doesn't exist. That hasn't happened. So don't stress about something that actually hasn't happened. So stay present, be here now, focus on what's in front of you, and find the good things that are in front of you. Find joy, look for joy, and if you look for it, you'll find it. If you look for horrible things, you'll find them. Sad things, you'll find them. Injustices, you'll find them. And the same goes for joy. If you look for joy and happiness, you will find it. Seek and ye shall find. It's a true thing. And the last thing is, don't forget to breathe. I think I do that a lot. A lot of us do. It's like when you're watching a movie and you get scared, or you see a wreck, or, you know, and that happens too. And it affects our whole nervous system, it affects everything. And definitely helps with letting things go, because the more you stay tensed up and not breathing, the more you're going to stay in that energy and stay in that state of mind. So really making sure that you are breathing properly all the way in with your belly filling, and then all the way out with it getting completely empty. And remembering to do that, even if it's just for 3 full breaths at a time, as much as you can during the day. Just remember to breathe fully, because a lot of times we stop right here. And that has so many negative effects, and that's going to keep your body in that fight or flight mode. It's going to keep you in that 10-step state. So really going to be helpful when you need to let things go. You need to be in a relaxed state to be able to do that. So anyway, this is it. If this resonated with you and you would like to see more of my work, if you want to really work on yourself, I have some workbooks. I'll have the link below. They're always below in my videos. Very helpful if you want to shift your life, shift your energy. Takes you through 6 weeks of things that you can do on a daily basis. And if you do them, you'll shift your energy and it will take you to a much better place. Lots of different topics. Anyway, that'll be down below. I hope this helps. And if nobody's told you today, I love you very much. And I will talk to you soon.